Coming up towards the top of your mat, you can stand with the feet about hip-width distance apart, pressing down through all corners of the feet, standing nice and tall, lengthening up through the spine, drawing the shoulders down and back. Take a second, just kind of shake off the day, wiggle out the legs, wiggle out the arms, and then find some stillness. You're welcome to turn the palms to face forward, really opening out in a gesture of receptiveness. And then just start to feel a little rock heel to toe. Notice if you feel anything going on in the hamstrings as you rock forward. Do you feel them activate? Do you feel them stretch as you come towards the toes? Anything at all. If your hamstrings are super tight, you might feel sensation, but you might also not. Centering once again. Soften the knees. We'll take a big breath in, reach the arms all the way up. And exhale, float the arms down. Inhale, slowly reach all the way up. And exhale, down. Inhale, reach, lengthen up. And this time, exhale, soften the knees and dive forward, leading with the heart. Fingertips can come towards the floor. Grab your blocks if you need to. Hands to the shins. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees nice and deep. Inhale, circle the arms all the way back up. And exhale. Inhale, reach up once again. And exhale, dive forward. Bend the knees as much as you need to here to start. If you can't reach the floor, grab those blocks. Or just hover. Or you can bring your hands to your shins for support if you need to. And just start to find a gentle side-to-side sway with the hip. Maybe you are bending and straightening one leg at a time. Just finding a little sway back and forth. You can bend both knees nice and deep and then try to straighten them as much as you are able. And then bend, straighten. Just feeling it out. Bend the knees nice and deep, circle, sweep the arms all the way up. Exhale, dive right back down. Inhale, halfway lift and pause. Hands are on the shins, just below the knees. Head relaxes down. Let the weight come forward towards the toes just a little bit, and then round your back up towards the ceiling like you're in cat pose. Now from here, I want you to press your palms into your shins as hard as you can, creating that engagement from the shoulders. Back off the engagement, but don't lose the position. Press the hands into the shins. And back it off. And press the hands into the shins. And don't hold your breath here. We want to keep that breath rolling. Back it off. Walk your hands down your shins a little bit. Let your upper body come forward, but still rounding the spine towards the back. Towards the ceiling. Derp. Press the palms into the shins once again. Your hands might be about halfway down the shins now. Relax the engagement. Press the hands into the shins. You'll feel the front of your body activate. Relax. And slowly let yourself melt into a forward fold. Just hanging out here. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Now let's take another halfway lift. Hands to the shins. Inhale, lengthen out. Strong, straight spine. Exhale, fold. Hands to the floor or grab those blocks. Step the right foot all the way back. Coming into a nice high lunge. And then we're just going to bring the weight back, trying to straighten the front leg and bring the weight forward. Now, if this is a lot for you to hold this position, go ahead and drop the back knee. And you can just reach the hips back and reach it forward. Moving with your breath, reach it back and forward. Reach it back and forward. Back and forward. Now we're going to reach it back and we're going to pause. If you need to, hop the back foot in a little bit more. Try to straighten the front leg. Back heel is still floating off the floor. You're not trying to get that heel down or anything crazy like that. Notice how that feels on the front leg. Is it a really tight stretch? Is the stretch near your knee? Is it near your hip? Is it in the middle? Is it in your calf? Just notice it. Notice it, accept it, embrace it. Let's bend into the front knee once again. You're going to step the right foot forward. Bend the knees nice and deep. Inhale, circle up. Exhale, dive it forward. Second side, we'll pick up the left foot, step it back, coming into that high lunge position. Grab your blocks if you need. And then start to find a gentle rock. Back and forward. You can always hop the back foot in a little bit for extra support if you need. You can lower the back knee down if you need. Moving with your breath. Moving softly. Moving intentionally. Reaching the hips back, pausing here. Front leg is straight. Back heel is still floating up off the floor. Noticing how this side feels. Maybe it feels different. We'll slowly bend into the front knee and step the left foot forward. Bend the knees nice and deep. Inhale, circle all the way up. And exhale, dive it down. Let's take a halfway lift here. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale. Stepping the right foot back once again. This time, everyone lower the back knee down. Untuck the toes. You're going to take a moment here. Enjoy the lovely stretch on the front of the right hip. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then we're going to walk the hands back into a runner stretch. Now here you can take your blocks with you if you want to. Blocks are an excellent way to keep the stretch softer, to keep it slightly less intense, no matter where you are. Now here you can start pointing and flexing through the whole foot. You can even shift the weight forward a little bit as you point and draw it back as you flex. Make sure if your hands are on blocks that you're not hunched on the blocks. Everything's nice and strong. This class is going to be all about noticing and embracing sensation. We're not really trying to change it through force. We're trying to gently change it. Change it with love. Now draw the toes back towards the face, holding here in the flexed position. And just very slowly, very carefully, see if you can rotate from all the way up at the hip. Rotate the foot in a little bit and then rotate it out. This might feel really strange, this internal rotation and external rotation while you're folded over the leg. But just finding new and exciting ways to move, working out some of those tighter spots. All right. Bring the weight forward. Tuck the back toes, lifting up. Step the foot forward. Bend the knees nice and deep. Inhale, reach all the way up. This is your little break. Exhale, dive down. Picking up the left foot, take it all the way back. We'll lower the back knee down. Take a second. Enjoy this stretch. And then we'll bring the weight all the way back. Finding the stretch on the hamstrings before we play with it. And then you can start to flex and point. Now, in addition to noticing the sensation, notice which side feels less tight, better. Notice which side feels a little bit like it needs more work. Often that's due to injury. That can just be due to the way you sit throughout the day. Flex the toes back towards the face. And then slowly we're going to try and rotate inward and out. In and out. Don't forget to breathe. Let's do that one more time. In and out. Bring it back to center. Walk it forward. Tuck the back toes, lifting up. Step it forward. Bend the knees. Inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale, dive it down. Hands come down. Halfway lift, hands to shins, strong flat back. And exhale, folds, just hanging out here for a second. Maybe you grab those blocks. Maybe you don't need the blocks at this point. Maybe you just want to hang out, literally. See what I did there? Reaching for opposite elbows. Big breath in. Big breath out. Let's take one more breath. Or reach the hands down. Now we're just going to step back until you can come all the way down onto your... Actually, let's sit back in a child's pose for a hot second. Big breath in here. Reaching the fingers forward, stretching out through the back, pressing down through the shoulders. And now we'll bring it forward and lower all the way to the belly. Now, here you have a couple of different options. We want to try and accommodate everyone's back and hamstring needs. I tend to find that my body prefers staying up on my elbows. Some people prefer coming all the way down, but it just depends on how things feel when you start to move. So we're going to start by just bending up the right heel towards the glute as high as you can. Squeeze it up there without causing a Charlie horse. Wherever it is your foot goes to, flex the foot and squeeze the heel up. And then you can kind of relax that, maybe shake it out a little bit, wiggle it. Now I want you to think about drawing the heel up towards the butt using the hamstring, not the quad. It creates a slightly different sensation. If you're on your elbows, make sure that you're not hunched down into your shoulders. You are pressing the floor away the whole time you're here. All right, go ahead and release the right leg down for a second. Left leg comes up, flexing through the foot, draw the heel up towards the glutes, just kind of seeing how it goes. How does your lower back feel? How does your hamstring feel? How does your glute feel? If nothing is getting grumpy, that's a good sign. Kind of relax it, give it a little shake out. And then try to draw it in just using the hamstring. Slightly different sensation. Beautiful. Relax it down, check in with your shoulders. Now here, we are going to grab a block in the right hand. You want to grab the short end of the block so that you have as much length as possible. This is the part where you may want to put things down, like put your upper body down on the floor. You may want to stay on your shoulder. But take your left hand and rotate it over so you've got a little extra support. You can keep the fingers forward, but I find that's less stable. From here, you are going to reach the block back, bend the heel up, and try to make a connection. Now, if when you make a connection, it doesn't feel like you're really doing anything, you can grab the long edge of the block to make it slightly more exciting. It's totally up to you. You can keep your neck neutral, forward towards the top of the mat, or looking over the right shoulder. You're going to squeeze the heel into the block nice and strong, but not strong enough to cause a Charlie horse. And then relax. Squeeze, pressing the heel into the block. Your arm in the block is a wall of resistance. And relax. Squeeze, press the heel in. Relax. We'll set the block down, set the leg down. You can give it a little shake, a little wiggle, whatever feels good. Block over into the left hand. Now, you can try holding it the way you did on the other side, but bodies not being symmetrical things, it might not work as well. So just play with it. Bring the right hand over so that you've got that extra support. Make sure you're pressing the elbow into the floor. I'm going to reach the block back, bring the heel up, try to find a connection, heel to block. Make sure your hip is staying down too. I should have cued that on the other side. We want to make sure the hips are staying square to the floor. Squeeze the heel into the block. And relax. Squeeze. Make sure you are not pressing hard enough to cause a cramp in the hamstring. Nobody wants that. Relax. One more time. Let's squeeze. Relax. And set it down. Take a second. You can stack the hands, release the forehead to the floor, maybe wiggle the legs. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Press up and back, child's pose. Meet me in a tabletop position. Palms under the shoulders, knees under the hips. From here, pressing the floor away, everything's nice and strong. We're just going to step the hands about a hand's width forward. Tuck the toes and come into an extended downward dog. Now, when you come into down dog, I want you to keep the knees bent. Lift the heels up nice and high and try to poke the ceiling with your tush. Deep breath in. And now soften the heels towards the floor without trying to straighten the legs. If you feel okay right here, work towards straightening the legs. You will not likely get your legs completely straight without dumping into your lower back. That's okay. The goal is not to get the legs straight. The goal is to find an excellent stretch. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Slowly release the knees down to the floor. Sit the hips back, child's pose. Big inhale. Big exhale. Set yourself back up, tuck the toes. Same thing, setting up, bend the knees, high heels, reach the sit bones up towards the ceiling, and then soften the heels down, work towards straightening the legs. This time, if you want, you can pedal out the legs. So bend one knee nice and deep, straightening the other, and then switch. Finding your best stretch, finding a stretch that feels nice after all of the work we've done. And then soften both heels towards the floor. Reach the sit bones up nice and high. Release the knees down. Sit the hips back, child's pose. You can roll out the wrists if you like. Meet me back in tabletop position. I have one more downward dog before we flip back over. Nice and strong. Set yourself up. Find your downward facing dog. Hips are reaching high. Heels are softening towards the floor. Legs are working towards straight, whatever that means for you. Now, wherever you are in your downward dog, I want you to see if you can find the sensation of lifting your toes. Trying to lift your toes up off the mat, it's unlikely they're going to come up off the mat, but if you can find that sensation, it creates a deeper stretch down the hamstrings. Deep breath in. Empty it out. One last breath, big inhale. Exhale, soften yourself down. Child's pose, sit the hips back. Going to gently swing the legs around. Grab one of your blocks. Maybe both of your blocks. It depends on your hamstrings. And you're going to sit on it. Woohoo! You want your sit bones connected to the block. And then walk the feet out away from you until your legs are straight. Now, you'll notice, if you look at my legs, my knees hyperextend a lot. So don't aim for this. I want you to aim for a strong, straight leg, not a collapsed leg. Even if you have that kind of range of motion, I am keeping my quads active to protect my knees. So we're going to flex the toes back towards the face and try to sit up as tall as you can. Notice where your pelvis is. If your pelvis is a bowl, we don't want it tilting backwards. And we don't really want it tilting forwards either. We want to find a nice neutral, upright, not spilling anything position. Sitting up nice and tall, fingers can rest down. They might brush the floor. Maybe roll the shoulders a couple of times. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Relax your face. And now I want you to try and press your heels into the floor as strong as you can from the hip. And then relax that engagement. Make sure that that strong, upright spine is all the way up to the base of the skull, and we don't have rounded shoulders on top of a straight spine. Pull the shoulders down and back. Press the heels down into the floor. Feel that engagement. Toes are flexing back towards you. Sitting up nice and tall. Relax it. You can give it a shake, give it a wiggle. Now, if you notice that while sitting on the block, you're still having trouble with a rounded lower back, go ahead and grab a second block. Sit on that. The higher up your hips are, the less steep the angle, the easier it is to straighten your legs. If you feel all right here, you want to see if you can go a little bit farther, you can bring yourself off the block. You're going to do the exact same thing, whether you're on the block, on two blocks, on the floor, doesn't matter which one, just wherever you feel like you need to be. Sitting up nice and tall, like someone's got a string out the top of your head, and press the heels down into the floor. You might even feel your legs start to shake, and that's all right. That's just engagement, that's effort going down into the floor. Relax that engagement. Maybe give it a little shake out. And then press the heels down again. Belly is tight so that you can sit up nice and tall. Make sure you're not scrunching up your face out of effort. Try to relax even your forehead. Relax the engagement, give it a little shake out. We're going to do one more. Press the heels down into the floor. And relax. Gently take yourself off the block. Give your legs a little shake, a little wiggle. If it feels good, you can bring the heels nice and wide. Just give them a gentle windshield wiper back and forth. This class was all about hamstrings, but it's really the whole leg that has to do some work. Funny how everything's connected. Let's bring the bottom of the feet together. Hands can come to the ankles, sit up nice and tall. Maybe give your butterfly a little flap flap. And then just start to lean forward, strong flat back, hinging into the stretch. You can even play with it. Maybe you bring your feet out a little bit wider today. Maybe you try to tuck them in a little bit tighter. It's all going to do different things. See what feels nice. See what feels right for you. Slowly lift back up till you are upright, and then tuck the chin and allow yourself to melt forward over the feet. Hanging down just as far as you are able to go. Crown of the head is vaguely seeking the feet. Slowly stack each vertebrae back on top of the other, coming up. Allow your face to soften, maybe close your eyes. We'll draw the knees up and together. Place the hands next to the hips to scoot the butt forward and lie all the way back. Let your feet come out nice and wide and the knees lean in towards each other. Your arms can relax by your sides. Maybe the palms are facing up, maybe the palms are facing down. Just start to settle into a breath. Whatever rhythm feels right, whatever depth feels right. Giving your body this moment of rest. And then slowly, we'll reach the arms up overhead. You can walk the feet out away from you, stretching the legs out long. Maybe flexing the feet, maybe pointing the toes. Big inhale. Big exhale. Hug the knees into the chest nice and tight for a moment. And then give yourself a little rock and roll all the way up to sit. Coming to a comfortable seated position. Hands can rest on the knees. Maybe the eyes are still closed. Face is soft. It's been my pleasure to guide you today. Thank you so much for joining me. Take a big inhale. Circle the arms all the way up. Let the palms touch, drawing the hands down to the heart. Gently bowing the head. Namaste. Thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, feel free to drop those in the comments or ask me once I end the recording, and I hope to see you next time.